In the steady stream of news coming out of Afghanistan, there is rarely good. Most often we get headlines like today's, at least 17 killed in an explosion at a mosque in eastern Afghanistan. Or last week's, 36 people killed, including 10 journalists in coordinated suicide bombing and separate shooting. But sometimes we get to highlight the good news too. And among the best is celebrating the 10th anniversary and success of the Zabuli Education Center. It's a school about 30 miles outside the capital city of Kabul, which educates girls from kindergarten through grade 12. And while that may not be a big deal here in the U.S., in Afghanistan, educating girls is a huge deal. Since the Zabuli school opened in 2008, it's seen its enrollment grow from 100 students to more than 600 last year. They even opened a second school last March, a post-secondary training school. Joined now by the founder and head of the nonprofit, Razia's Ray of Hope, which runs all of this. Razia Jan is an Afghan native, settled in Massachusetts after the Russian invasion of Afghanistan and the Taliban takeover near her home. It's great to see you again, Razia. Thanks for being here. Patti Quigley, whose husband Patrick was a passenger on United Flight 175, the second to hit the World Trade Center. She's now the executive director of Razia's Ray of Hope Foundation. It's great to meet you, Patti. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having
me. When the
me.
Taliban fell, Razia, in 2001, there were 900,000 boys being educated in Afghanistan and 0 girls.
Right.
When you started the school, what was the state of education for young girls in Afghanistan?
I think almost none.
Almost none.
Yes, and it just happened that after 2002, slowly the public schools reopened and tried to really help girls to get education. But
did you think there was a hope of being able to pull this off when you decided to do this? Did you say this is a dream or something I can make a reality?
I think I just felt because you know, Afghanistan was much different when I was growing up.
I know that.
And I thought that the people are the same. The circumstances must be different. But maybe we can give a chance to women and girls to get education.
Am I not right? Didn't you tell me once that there was a bombing of a girls' school not far away on the day you opened your school?
Yes, and about 100 girls were killed. It was a primary school. And the girls were playing outside like my girls do. And some men were passing by, and usually they have grenades in their pockets, and they just threw 3-4 grenades, and these girls were killed. And I just thought that, you know, I know that it's so difficult under those circumstances, as you said, that what's happening every day there, you know. But you can't stop. If you stop, then your life is worth nothing.
Patti, can you describe what it was like? You've been there since the beginning. On day one, in terms of the number of kids and what the atmosphere was like as compared to now, 10 years in.
Sure. I think day one, I think the girls were excited. I think the fathers were nervous. I think they didn't know what was going to happen. And today, huge difference. The fathers are involved. They come and they're just so happy that their daughters can read for them. A lot of these men are illiterate.
You know, you're now called the mother of Des Sables, which is a big difference. You mentioned the most stunning part of this to me. While we're talking, I'm going to show you some video from the film, from What Tomorrow Brings. And this is one of the first meetings you had with some of the elders where the fathers would not even make eye contact with you, would not even look at you.
Correct.
And then just a few years later, they were as engaged as almost any parent in our communities. Why the transition? I know they love their daughters, but why did they go from being so reluctant to so embracing what you both do?
I think it's just showing them that how tough I am, that really I mean to educate these girls. And I think always I tell that, and I tell them very clearly that it's nothing about me. It's all about your children and your daughters, so they have a better life. And I'm here to provide them that education with the help of Foundation and Patti Quigley. Without Patti, I couldn't have done anything.
Do you agree that that's what it's the toughness of this person sitting here that because when I saw that first video that we just played, I said, this is never happening. These guys, they can't even look at her.
Yeah.
They're surely not going to stay with the program. What did it?
I think it's the toughness and the consistency of Razia's message. It's always been the same. And their anticipation of what could happen was more difficult than what really did happen. And when they saw it, they believed it.
Here are a couple, by the way, we've talked about these young girls. We should actually hear from them for a couple of seconds, too.
I want to be a doctor. My greatest ambition, peace in Afghanistan.
I want to be a teacher.
My great ambition, peace in Afghanistan. I want to be a doctor.
That's such a beautiful video. It's just otherworldly.
Do you know that last one?
Yeah.
She's in the midwifery program now.
Yeah.
She
Oh, in the
graduated.
post-second. That's what I was going to ask you about next. So say what that program is.
So that's a program that's run by Razia and the Ministry of Public Health to teach the girls how to deliver babies around the community.
But you're also training them to do other things, too.
Of
are you?
course.
Yeah, like what, for example?
We have English as second language and computer science.
And they're going to the university.
And we have 9 students who are going to American University in Kabul. And you know, the main language they have to speak there is English. And if they speak in Dari, they are fined 50 Afghani. So these girls can't speak any other language, that only English, which is amazing for them to really go forward and really be part of a culture that they could not even imagine.
Do you worry about the future? I mean, we read accounts here of the Taliban gaining strength. We know what their history is with girls. We talk about the Afghan army losing its hold on parts of the country. Do you worry about the future?
I think it's a mind that we are giving, this mind and education or understanding or self-respect, that nobody can take it from it, no matter where they are in the world.
Even if the Taliban took over, do you really believe that, or you want to
absolutely.
believe that?
I think I believe it 100%, because you change their mind, you've changed their life. And I don't think so. Education is something that anybody can take away from you.
Do you think that's true, that once the seed has been planted, as
Absolutely.
you did so brilliantly, do you believe that?
I do.
Are you as hopeful? Really?
I am, because you know what happens is these girls go home and they run the home. They bring up the children. They're the ones who set the standards for their next generation. They're already having babies, and they're going to teach their babies to read, and they're going to teach their babies to think. And what Razia has done is allowed these girls to think and make decisions for themselves.
Is it important for the U.S. to stay there to help keep this promise alive, do you think?
I think it's always, I mean, America has been with them for as long as I remember, for ages, for hundreds of years. I don't think so that this is a wise thing to leave them. America is a great country, and I think it's such a, their presence is so important with them, and there are European countries that are really giving the same kind of help to Afghan in that country. And although it's not really shown, but you know, Japan is doing so much, and Europe is doing so much, and I think we just can't give up.
Well, with you two around, no one's giving up. I don't think, Razia, it is great to see you. Congratulations on your 10th anniversary.
Thank you.
Patti,
It was
it's
nice
great
to meet
meet
you.
you. You can learn more about all their work at raziasrayofhope.org.